NDC for nanka say tia konya so ye war offices no omukra na ora na achi omo first mame ka se mikra na NDC for no nyare mo sa ora na mo mpeni for no ka che mamuda tu mutirim no
e ba fa ye chi a ye beti won so do waka ho abusua mame samu akwaba ebiem emra dwumade so as usual yasanso fanase a ensama ekoso e o man Ghana mu yade ni nyina ebre ahefo ene wachi no abusua panic wo so adiomi abiebie semnim na edimu nkomo as usual. President His Excellency John Dramani Mahama Mampani Gusu Aboagye Sarabaya Oman Ghana yebefa yentoma pa edi efra eno nanam so ama NPP amanyuko no ene minority no edi nkomo ewo chese ai eniema ekoso Oman Ghana mu no womo de womo ne nye baran eno chi no Ghana for etuja edi mane womo quick one yebeboro na fe no yedi nkomo na bibia ay kama wani nsefufro bi ne aboabo ano a yede ni nyina ebre ahefo baransa na no enche ye ne beto odwa se Sammy Gyamfi ne yire ne papa akonfo kwako bonu tuo ekono eno chi no IGP ai tatayohonu adi operations egu akwamu a sese ameno kase ya tia akonfo ni nyina baran enkomo bebre ene freche eba eze ehintasem bi wachi baransa na no yenkwa this video emra ya tia akonfo no IGP so akasa yenkomra ne koba abusia ensem bebre ene wachi.
Please don't take the faces of the suspect. You can take them from the back and then you.
No back.
Yes, the back. So, good afternoon to you, the Inspector General of Police, members of the Police Management Board, colleague officers, friends from the media. We welcome you this afternoon to the MA and Hassan conference room, where
on the 10th of February 2026, I received the unfortunate news of a robbery incident that occurred at Aboagye Junction, where one person was shot and his Toyota Hilux vehicle snatched from him. We soon learned of the identity of the victim, Mr. Andrews Amakwa, who sadly passed on at the hospital where he had been sent for medical attention. I'm happy to announce that we have arrested 4 suspects, including 3 members of the gang that was responsible for the attack. A 4th suspect, believed to be the gang leader, died from gunshot wounds sustained during the operation. As we always do when such cases reported, I immediately constituted a team comprising the Ashanti Regional Commander, the Regional Intelligence Team, the Anti-Robbery Unit, and the Cyber Vetting Team of the CID headquarters to immediately commence investigation. Upon following several leads during the course of our investigation, we had our first breakthrough on the 18th February 2026 with the arrest of suspect Akwesi Menu, who was found in possession of a mobile phone belonging to the deceased. Suspect Akwesi Menu was subsequently put before the Supreme Circuit Court 2 on 20th February 2026 on the charge of possession of stolen property and remanded into police custody to reappear on the 5th March 2026. Further investigation and covert intelligence operations led to the arrest of a second suspect, Bashiru Tanko, from his hideout at Atonso High School Junction in Kumasi on the 19th February. Following the arrest of Tanko, we intensified efforts across several locations, and after days of sustained operations, 2 additional suspects, Kwajo Akosan and Emmanuel Kwame Apia, were arrested on 21st and 22nd February 2026 at Bireso near Boakra and Danyame Soldier Barracks, Kumasi respectively. Suspect Eric Antwi-Duku, who sustained gunshot wounds during the operation, has passed on. Our investigation further established that this criminal syndicate, led by deceased suspect Eric Antwi-Duku, specialized in the snatching of pickup and Land Cruiser vehicles, particularly black and ash color ones, which they sold to a contact at Aboagye. The gang also have contacts with some persons at Ofinso and in Dubai, as well as contacts with some Goro boys at the DVLA who facilitated the preparation of fake vehicle documents for them. The syndicate have been linked to similar robberies at Tapa, Kumasi, and other parts of the Ashanti region. The regional commander will share further details. It's worth noting that this syndicate has been on the wanted list of the Western Central Regional Police Command at Tapa following a series of incidents involving them.
Okay, Mr. Bright. Momo Kwaba, Major Swan, and then some Dawson, but I'm Sanano, a IGP operations here, Womaye, na Omatia Confua, a boss, Sammy Gyamfi Papetuno, and some brain fracture, but quick one, you didn't come away. Mamacha, her phone, na Christian Tete Yohunu. Oh, about operations, IGP, Memfanka home. The Inspector General of Police, no question ni, said ye pese pose for ye, Juma, na econo. So far so good. Obaye woguso a wo bo adwuma. Obeka se wunya na 100% because oye nipa. Se kwa 100% dia na eze wo ni nyankopon na ye de ne kototo. Uye nipa da se ni dia bibie no abe ya benya na 100. To machiw kakra beba ho. But ye read on the brother aye consultation and answer discussion ne ahwe how so far obaye wo bo adwuma na. Aye top notch. The writer how be say sia. Na uma ho ye ha. Na omo ho beji mu no so utumi chi wo mo a the brother emma wo mu no mu di sabone no mu so bo hu kakra de be wo mu tim ne say this IGP anase police de omo ye ward and so anya careful a on be chi sesia the brother so re incident bi asisie ane kwan omo fa so mo ho ye ha emma eneme no wo kasai police CID ultimately what the warning at the ama woko aye friend who say school ya wo makobu aya akore yi ama na ni hu nyina papa ne ade a ene say student o mko di sabo ni nyina post fon sa aka wo mo ni nyina aka ho bi aye hwese obetu hu anamo wo we kwan ya wo mo fa so na o mo organize wo mo na o mo ko oboko ene wo mu nua asojafo kan ho ekofa ohene na o mo fa no boko ankofa ntokwa bia amfa ma o mo de ko ya enamra kwa so a eno so ya another one abetimi e de ama wo mo no abo wo mabaso ho because such issues no se wanya obi a nadwi mu da ho na otumi ekeka niema bomu no kwampapa obefa so a obeteki steps a wo se wo kobra wu enso be wansa osompa fe na ade Sammy Gyamfi papa die ye bebo mabaso eno na me keka me de be because we resa niema we nyina ye de aba be Sammy Gyamfi die so a esi da ben ana adi sei ana o matimi achi wo mu ni 2 weeks cry nu a chese na so da fom a chese na ni da fom a o tietie wo rere no hu ne ekoso ensem beto dwe na manfo se Sammy Gyamfi modem ma o bono ai gold board yi ama say eniema ekoye wo man ganem ana konfo tata na busuafo nyina no eno de untimi nyimfa mfrim de brata otamfo no kura rehwe na wo anyanwo a o de call baso wo yere ana unua enti Sammy Gyamfi na mu betimi ay target but e bia so benya Sammy Gyamfi ne be den di amount but then yes ya de fan na yere so ya de fan ne nsenom so ya de fan ne ma ana ne nua bi so a e be ize di amaye enu ntia no die na Sammy Gyamfi a target oh yeah ultimate nyimfrim because as young as he is obaye medical kase gold board no bi di card botai bi bayo so wono de en de obefa blog no sa no de akwaje oil ekowie che na economic wizard niema opeso de beye no no na wasin bibia ama bibia say but small boy me hu Sammy Gyamfi the kind of position bia wanya no abemu eso sada this is the first time ni position wanya no abemu na no kranya abemu political party me communication director minim previous joma ama first ayimu minim Sammy Gyamfi position wanya na for the first time ade eni ho na yete ye no won ye sad wakwa no se sa akoye board chair and mind you say obi ye board chair enye se sabe ku koda no asore kekese na me tema you adwuma no day to day affairs wona atena se na adi nsusu ya ba no board na atena se na madwene na ehun se bekose na bekose tinti minus gina ya osie e o gold board ho no untumi nyi wono no gina ye mfamfiri mu and so won ran se wo ye bayfo nko a ana abeka se gold board so far emfa so bi amre wo man no gold board ye di wo mfa so sanete dia enam se politics eye evil game ni e boni ntie no se be ye be pew down for na ma me so menya ba bia be gina no no ene ye mpe kwa bia be fa so e betimi ama Sammy Gyamfi ya bre na se ene kwa ye be fa so e betimi abre na se bia ne se wo no mu be the target ye benya no na bia be yina firi ho no ye nya no dia ene ne nipa wo be no a e ka na betimi aka Sammy Gyamfi ama na dwene kura ntimi zisi no ntimi nya adwuma na let's channel our strength over there no mo de betimi dia call e bi ne ni in-laws yi and anasa ni in-law ya e ko ba ye o makokuni eti ni nyina nkamfua no onse nan se kro mo sa de ban pipi propaganda se Sammy Gyamfi yire abie go shop e wo Dubai wo dem se Dubai ho ne de and this for yam dem za be Dubai sa se de makoto ni nyina
Your mama atofie
hotel no and ni fie no still da so ho aye nten ho asem and Sammy Gyamfi asa akobie go shop de aka ho se Ghana na yam se this for ji in Dubai no eti obi a ne yira akobie go shop e wo Dubai de the brighter a wake up call at the Sammy Gyamfi. I'm telling you. Obiempo Sammy Gyamfi was what done from Pune wake up call the mouth. So be protected Sani man. And it is up to IGP and this current government. So be protected Sammy Gyamfi family and friends. Because Sane akwe ni illa who knows ebia na chane kwa ye nyame mpengu. But be bia betimi asi enunti ne yesum body an yesum kodu ko so nko na mframa yesum body an de egu an kodu ni gina won ne yede ne kombre e wo hono enunti won mu Sammy Gyamfi prepare because politics na yen wo Ghana and the brighter and ko bi nkom mo bi ye a confirm no mfa duro nkan ma nipa no nkodi no nkowu ama won mo di ye de bi no ntrase etie wo so ye very careful our especially Sammy Gyamfi as young as he is medical catcher wa hanu mribi said the three Sammy Gyamfi the three Sams no Sam George and afa Sammy Gyamfi and Sam Okujeto sa three Sams no omunye very careful me kan wa de kire mribi so be kai ya and so wanye careful because omunye very vocal so we mo twi MPP amemo no ba fom mo nim gu ase do mo twi fom na untimi nyi three Sammy the Sam George is dealing with the communications ministry as Rowusu and Sam Okujeto Black is dealing with corruption bribery and corruption when people mo then Sammy Gyamfi to e suja de guma NDC 360 wa hu ne course ho no and they should be very careful no mo protect wo
Bokebu quick one Yankona Miracle Aboagye enu tinam se ya Bokebu no Miracle Aboagye eguso edi nkomo bi na abusua wo de nyabote na yentie ni nsem ni nwie ne ekoba information ni je die che na abusua sawani ensesa me ena me ka kire
there are very serious issues going on in this country. Now, you know, in order for them to cover their shame, I see the NDC people on social media, and this government, they're
because I'm say a lot of Ghanaians had faith in oral. Now, you know, more and manuai than they are buying on your machine, but they should begin arresting and prosecuting.
They haven't arrested and prosecuted people. Arrest and prosecute. Who arrest and prosecute? I say, you jungle.
No.
Obi make say mitro. NDC for nanka say tia konya so war offices no. Omo kra no run na achi omo first.
Appointees.
Omo aben mu ene no nti NDC for no person omo tia ase de ntia ne ma to din ya. Omo ankasa appointees nanka sakra eje dom ti no. E dom to no.
Oral no be chi omo.
Anase achi omo da yes be chi omo. Ti that is if the definition of oral no you based on the omo trogu books mu de any achi omo. Na de wa achi we den kwachi obi. Me say tie ne ye o. Because you see, we always said some of the things they were mentioned were senseless. Obi, how do you tell me, say, according to who view, no, Bank of Ghana building this one, according to who view, no,
yes.
Bank of Ghana building the board into their car around. Obey that you be one question. Obi, what question? Say, according to who, no, according to who,
project expense
do kwache, etu da ka ora ho na wo de ato party for trim na party for ni age
sir you recover sika e dey see
o recover from why o enti so you see etu we end this na wutie na hu de enti a Bank of Ghana entumi nchi obi a it's because one kasa kra no omo ko ora one kan obi o pa ka cha ban we so on release this book kese bi na oral committee ni on release na party for no say they won't collapse obi me say the fact say we say Bank of Ghana dynasty won bo edin no eno je say obi aye bone it is a wo ye NDC na say wo de to trim say o party say oba obeye oral be from Bank of Ghana wo na when your BP ya keke ko pay drobi no because Bank of Ghana na me no ka say NDC aban by so mo sisi market omo to ton konya district assembly omo to ton konya mo omo ye road me boa enti me aban for ba o say road bi na mo ye wo your friend is saying Ashanti region no according to aban for road ne bo odin todo nti oba ora we nyansa wo no atam road ne value no ensa no mo ye no nti omo tam road ne value no no mo dey share book rim omo say 25 omo say
21
billion dollars obi $21 billion I need acquire IMF ko je $3 billion. $21 billion. Ni about $21 billion no. Me say Bank of Ghana dey ka ho. In fact, my menka say me kra na end this for no yare more. Sa ora na mo mpeni for no ka che ma mo da tu mutirim no. Me say insase asase a obi ato. Abaya advertise asase. Obi akọ wakwakoto. Wetu aka. Ye dey akọ or dey akọ lands commission. Ya transfer of ownership amano. Se me no ka say ne asase ne ye ne dia mo mpani fo no tro sa asase no say o ma dwimu no asase na me to no $100,000 no according to omo no omo gidi say asase no nke say $1 million enti omo de $1 million a share book nim e ka $22 billion no omo ko je fi hwan wo obi na sa back o de fa de say ye court class court say ampa na ye say $1 million Uber just came more. I don't do assassin more. But they are told party for 3 months. Say $1 million we know a recover all it. No be and you be as a buying a advert. Say or ton assassin or ton $10,000. Now me kokota me my ebony. That means that me a loot. And you are buying an advert. And I what or ton adena makokoto. Does it mean that my loot? Now if that principle is what is going to apply there, and the national service for no moment to win you know we na bedem. Obi omu nyina bedem.
Miracles Aboagye. Miracles Aboagye. Oh, Miracles Aboagye. But kwa kunyo no. Ne hwan a. Aga ndisi fo na ama we abai. Anso di ampo. Anya Miracles Aboagye nyari o. Samre kaba na nkoma chi ba ku mienu bi a. Sam no. Konkasa. Asam anemi no kasa na sha katida ko sei. ECG akosi sei. The writer sometimes on mommy call a can na me so me dia ba besim say ai court case ne aban mu nkyire no aya na nkakra o asam bi wa etimi de court na yegusu aye di na ne lawyer na okọ lawyer no a wo accuse obi no no na akasa ne nsam na ode bae no o sa akọ no akoye nsachaye wo mu afen wanya evidence pa first na ode bae ne nsam na otroye no wo sa de call back Lord judge man kwan amosa akokoye nsakraye wo di brighter ora no ade asam na yawodom levo ka kireye o se wo moye kura nhwehwemu eto no yawodom levo no kura ye ne nwanwa se up to now ndi se twetwe wo na asesa di brighter ade na kyeresa asofo adi asori anim se ekosi asori ne edi number to dwase ayeji mobile money ni enye 200 na mobile money ye mu 100 Ghana pe ehwo akonta di brighter ade na kyeresa eye kro no a ye ntimi nti wo mo ade na kyeresa asam nkomra hyebedwa fie ni edi yensa kobo oman ni sika makoyidi akoye national cathedral na parliament anyantumu na finance minister atimi akogye atomu na onu afa kuntura se no release fan no aya minumie no taxpayers money ade ama national cathedral se o monkongo ye adwuma di better ade na ye kro no se ye di over 90 million US dollars ade to komo amra keke na ye nya bibia mfirimu na ne aban bae na up to now wo se ye twen evidence answer asa de source of we no mako
enkomo na o di se state capture aban asase wo se aban na eton na asase na ebi ono Miracles Aboagye akwakoto asase na omso operation recover all loot but an enkomo no so adan no this asem ni bem
anu so ma men kan kiro
And it's not binding the enemy will be can.
The bitter truth is what he is saying is no correct. Me individual, I'm tell the writer. Say no. I buy now but the uru so what on the car. And I may not be in my quacoto. And I buy a car and Kawasanka 1 million. And I buy not 20 amame 50 CDC and a maquacota. Maybe them from Soben my. But with him, I thought I can see. Ya say, dear or no Korea, dear no, and wa wuto nyina mo akromfo. Eti yese dear wo je bribe no, and ne wo tua bribe no, mo nyina no emna no kandi mu. Adentra, ade we wunim sane bo ankasa pa ye 500. Ana wo koe no so de ma 50. Aden na bibi nkasa ncho se. Aden na de ton 500 wo de ma 50. Bibi wo mu enti wonto, e ba se ye chia ye be chi wo nso de waka ho. I'm telling you. And it is miracles. Aboagye some now can say can for nu. So why we ga unim. Those who saw mutons are Sunday morning Jordan citizens. Oh, I beg say busia de minim hwe. Afamra no ho. Minim se bia ebone. Abemu mpanyimfo na nkasa na mo amotonto de ma mo. They are the people who munim the value of land at Bay Airport. It is a winning set assassin. I buy $250,000 here. Now they amount $50,000. I didn't know wouldn't penny wouldn't nam so wouldn't sabani ebu and I said, Unya dear fountain and walk and I toy. It I was all around the now I'm running new dear. Submit the Biame come see me problem. They say, I buy them for warm call. What warm corner court to see woman your bonny biana. Near would say ampa. Supreme Court to say. So we didn't support my gun as sikamu. Na did a so for Nedi and Nimus Monco sit down cathedral. None 3 million, the only 2 amount from Swawa Monco. Yaji mobile money are so for some Fanco Yajuma. No more disicano, and me a more contani Yavamana Supreme Court to say, Wamonia Bonia Wamonco. As I say $250,000. Near told the Amobi $50 here. Now Supreme Court to Sinipania Bonia. Encore. And nee yesekano KGV aya esrawusu and from swaba esrawusu communication ministry hono and yema anko ye enti esrawusu ya de court no yese onye from swa esrawusu mfa no nkodi a yete wona supreme court ne hu na ye ja no na okọ sa enso ena eneye PDS scandals awodo aba ye de wo mo court supreme court se PDS wo mo nya from so bia enti wo mo from nkodi am to an ma ye di electricity company of Ghana post wires, meters, a gumram, a pro. Yes, see, after no markings are no yet chairman. No, Yadini court, no, I have buff one in the Supreme Court judge, so one young from Sobia.
But means so, the American miracles of Aboagye say, until now, some run sure, and no better than Bobo, so that bay, ever so, Cassana, Damnabas, all round the West chassis. I'm telling you, what you say. 2028 we drew. Na Jomama and prosecute will be better. And your prosecution and your 2020 ebina that last time I catch us say. And Jomama near this your mobile no. I want to be jaff in your markings. And a certificate I said Jenny Collins Daudanum. And one more macano. Woman from Sobia. Because any Jomama na do mo court. Aya Kufuor na ban na do mo court. So one more evidence so one di bone. 8 solid years. Want me and provide evidence. I'm aware near some name I'm a year more who expect to say another party by no for being court no or of evidence no hini. Eti anya court obeko name sending term so na niam betimi akontamonia hu se ampa enipendi for na so ni for because so Sawumpo, Chama won't make us your way. What are you ase? Now, man, ye. Now, you go to about 2028. Now, APMP winning and red. And then, never to about 7th December, and be now, 2 year court, or not so yet, or not so yet, something to me from him. Yes, when I was a jumping time. Because someone among the chairman to me call some more evidence. So within 4 years, want me and evidence and found prosecuting. Don't expect chairman to me political parties or my baby, mom, never to prosecution. So. And nothing near king. Oh, China 2028 and then I didn't court. Oh, China 2027 didn't court. I said, well, no, Nipana wa boko no. Or no crash said day abino.
Yeah, because when you're what day when you miss it ko Facebook na kwa na ameyaw. What can these communicators no? Go and see what he has written. Ni never already hu. When him crofo dwa dwa fa ora no. everything is going on smoothly. And maybe 100% said that they can. But ora na mankrofo di yawo. The air kwa dia besie ni say so na ndi si no omoboa. And omo ka san sem we di che nya na. MPP nya hwe ana. Because the ekwe na just MPP nya hwe. And amu twa nto de che. So I dare this government. The Attorney General, the President of the Republic of Ghana. So, according to your level, or my money na ye dia mamo, and Tomunya Hojuma.
Quick one, miracles Aboagye sat was what Dinkomo. Na Ninkomo, no, Abusha, Ode Koba. I obe reveal secret be. It's a quick one. Yenya bu 20 san komo no. Yen pay attention tiemra. Ye Koba Abusha, e JDH ne sewani. Esa me, ena me catcho.
Ade oyare na wabre.
Obi niama na doso. Mama doso.
Nioma se adwuma awoye.
Debi.
Ana oman ni mu nsem.
Oman ni mu nsem na doso. Adoso. And we don't seem to have clarity on any kwanya is say the first one. To be very honest, and yeah, me pen am was situation where nipa bebre are confused.
Sir.
And I'm sure in the past few weeks, so we follow social media, you can see from the commentary. If either the person is complaining about say the electricity bill, and I say will be complaining about transportation, and I'll be complaining about spare parts, and I even school fees in poor, cocoa farmers and so complaining.
Yes.
Will be me inbox I am ma.
Now some of those can be opposition propaganda, opposition induced.
Okay, be funny sir.
Sir.
Senka me saying can have that means Senka will be
microphone.
Senka it means that I will be part. I will know and think I won't affect me. Number. So if that is the case, because will be security agency CDA.
Yes.
How is it if anything opposition induced? You haven't paid them. The government knows say on to your mukaye. So I just say will be teacher for 14 months. Say me na me ko is someone am ko buy.
Yes.
Omotu ya no muntu ya.
No.
Exactly. So I just electricity bill yi. Obi and also opposition induced. Tomatoes opposition induced. Obi niama na doso. And you see the problem is amade na kwa burden so mama Ghana for ne say. Te say na okay ya woka abane response any. And you know say we know has been characteristic of the government from the mobile office.
I didn't.
Obi uka say abane we bar office no. The first in the unity, the first 4 months, how abane no name penny for, and then the party for taking over on mining across the country. Etutu galamsey center left right. Obe kaya member tena on channel used to can say the kwanya galamsey afas we pijano. E bro adwene nti ase so nti aban ye hu bibi. You remember the feedback almost say no kre. Na say your evidence galamsey escalate ayen fambra. And you remember say we spent almost a month trying to prove to the country and the government say galamsey has escalated. Emma, it had to take us 1 month to prove. After I was almost set up an emergency meeting with CSOs at the presidency. You remember? After I called meeting with CSOs by a pet, no see what fed and Yatias here into no galamsey, no see you be declare forest reserves and then water areas, national security installations. You be deploy permanent
military presence.
Nana, Obi almost on my baby. Niamano Mokai and a moody and almost on my and then also quatre ho. Fast forward, and Chebia, any who say baby abefebia almost say dollar abafem into Ghana kuye mumbonsem. That was the time I okabi almost say Mahama is the ho. Obi to me shiawo ne komo deno or kase chale. We can pay the fees. Our hostels, if we 6,200 across 7,800, and this is for say Mahama is the ho. School fees, if 1,006, it cost 2,600. Mahama is the whole. Taxi drivers, any truck drivers, a catcher will say spare parts, no, a cost. In spite of dollar above Mahama is the whole. Obi, omo ya fe they do baby no. You know, mufi Mahama is the whole. Omo ba third term. Mahama obe nya third term. Ghana for don ombe 2 man teacher for third term. And I kept telling you, say, omo push your lack. I'm push your luck to the extent say good work akra omunya you know. I said they were stretching it too much. Inti my view is that omun to omo wase. No omun step back. No omun ye a proper your friend is saying review of exactly what is going on in the country. And they will see the gaps and fix it. You remember I was one of the few people, in fact I was the first person to sit here and tell you say they were artificially manipulating our currency. Okay. Emma me catch you said the omo you know will come back to bite them. ultimately, you remember I said this, Emma, and Crawford trouble me, so I say, $1 and a coffee, and I said, no, yeah, $1 and a coffee. But if you want to drive the strength of your currency, do it through the real sectors of the economy. And yes, I gold figure I'm saying for her. Now I just cannot dumping into the, and I said this until you could do November. You do November, almost you or mine a year. Sisiano, they are buying the pay beyond bay because almost sees your minor. Why? Because almost $1.14 about 10. Friend is saying fuel $14 about 9. Inflation 23 about 3. Obi 3% is the inflation in this country today. Yeah. Then I said, so no, there's something wrong. That was when the People's Forum, young guys, 30 of them, for over 5 days, more analyzing the performance of the NDC. That was when he came and said, this government was running the economy and the country with the facade, with PR. Indeed, on paper, a lot of the macroeconomic indicators now improving. But it became quite apparent, obvious, there's a big disconnect between the macroeconomic improvement and the realities of the Ghanaian people. And the Kofa People's Forum bio. When we assessment, you doubt because we felt the different from the Abineka, and we decided to go and test it in the market. And then my first People Forum buyer, it came out and said, oh, Sadiano Crampono, indeed, the cost of living today for the Ghanaian citizen is worse than when inflation was 23%, than when dollar was 14%, than when fuel was 40%. And it is a fact. It came out clearly. And when we finished that thing, they said, oh, miracles, the party for being until now, 2 weeks later, now the Ghanaian people started now calibrating, validating that. Interfere all of a sudden, you realize we'll be caught there. No, I for 2024 receipt, not they are compared. Because before then, nobody was really doing it. Everybody was being driven by the government PR. And it's true. What we say, I don't know whether you've read the story of the men in the cave. There's this story we learned very early in our philosophy class at the University of Ghana. The men in the cave. They lived thinking, say, light is where they are. Because he won't work with them, or it's not darkness in him. Until by the time already 18, he's able to find his toothpaste, he's able to find it, ask everything in the dark. Until he actually thought he was in the light. To the extent, say, when one of them slept, Baku Johnny free cave with him or Babu until you be share, say, Johnny Koshe cave with him. Said there be light in more danger, emano, than the darkness. And it happens. That is how human psychology is engineered. Anything will be every or one na mobile. Anything will be kama na mobile. Anything will be a cranty obere. Maybe I'll be near quite befa so the ebe do be 2 trim and then to the mound. So it's true. By the time you do November 2025, the government made a lot of Ghanaians believe say my brother is enough until we triggered the conversation. And today it has become clear. Said no, there's something wrong. It has become clear. Obi, tell me one thing that has improved in the Ghanaian person's life. The macroeconomic indicators have improved, but the output of the improved macroeconomic indicators is not on the paper. It is what we feel in our pockets. And the Obi catcher will say, Nana me back school, Ivandi, no to 6,200 for the hostel, and you to 7,800. Now catcher and say, but inflation above will say, any inflation in 23. Now mean to 6,200. Obi wakabone.
On carbone, but say Obi nsu dealy, and answer say, we Ghana ni also crack cars. Edeba Ghana, and so crack car Edeba Ghana port duty abafom because of CD abafom. That is savings in your pocket.
So the point is that let's admit engine too, and I think the last time we made to said 10% to 15% of the population and are benefiting from our policies. How about the masses? Accra, when you say between 75 to 80% of people who live in Accra for public transport.
Yes,
and it say. Dia enfaso aba ne se fuel aba efi 14 aba 9 na se me fa trotro na trotro price ne ma afem emo bia be ka ho a o menya enfaso bia 15% pe ne nya so enfaso. So the masses were suffering at the expense of the few, and that's the point I have always made. The bia me can say nipa kakra bi, and you know the funny thing is say sa nipa kakra bi no so no omo no mandu dwam omo no munya radio so kasa omo na omo nanfo eye obi mo ene Dominic mo enti omo do omo ba of course na me sesa $14 na me kofa niema bagana see 10 my benefit na me kraka bagana na me sesa 40 and 10 my benefit me kra me private car na me tofu 40 and me turn 10 my benefit. So those people have benefited, but they are few. Masses no me a me ba ko school e wo GIS me $2 Me back school Roman rate $2, my benefit in boa. So those ones, but they are few, 10 to 15%. So the reality is that by the time we notice, this government had run about we had 12 months. Ni niamo ye nyina no, e kwama nipa kakra bi pe. And the masses no ebre. And the masses no bre no so mo bre no so obi ante. It took the trigger. And Obi, when we started this, you remember the insults? Friend is saying doomsayers. The papa more minor, but today it's become real. Say we are right.
Okay, I'm sure. Right. Again, miracles of what? So already giving now the official say on said. Oh, be sansa day. And yen sense me ya, o memun sense. No, memun sense be. O say aban no niema nko yie. I said ni omo ye ni nko yie. And na go kan bia wo mo sin inflation aba form. No ni ma de ye nwanwa. Wo be kan MPP penso. Just a one kase obi ntimi nko toilet os free SHS. Yeah. What's our free communicator be na will be say e de na be dia fire head system so say we would say free SHS ni ntino am I nkore esua de nti o be nko be fa so free SHS one say na America Aboagye twa ne ho no abesi echi say ne no aka bibia NDC $6 aba form aka bibia NDC $6 aba form. I'm not saying say si na no na nya ne ye kan ya ene esi ya ye na de ntia ne se NDC ni bi ko kan wo ka cho se dollar aba fom a ebe mama support na magiatum se eno ye better chance we free SHS na because eye dollar no sikasam ene ede ye bibia di brata untumi mfa free SHS nkoto aduane untumi mfa free SHS nko hospital untumi mfa free SHS nkoto ka untumi mfa free SHS enware na wonim sesika sam no aye the embodiment of the government no of the nation no ekoyia utumi de yewe nyina utumi de ko school utumi de ko hospital utumi de toka ena me no mienu yente am no yese wo mo di ka hu da wo mate so me won say 15% enti free SHS buy na etimi take ka so me bi so who say free SHS buy e mo bo so te who say free SHS
eno kra na ma mo bo ko soro
right ni ma ko soro enu ti na me ka kire se na no esi ni ese nya ene yen ka se the same thing esi a ye bebo abaso na mmom so we ni mienu na de to nsane ani na se na NDC communicator wona na kasa na o sisi di na stabilize na no so na MPP fo so di free SHS a wonim se ba kunyansa wom ba kunyansa nim
o yes ade no memfa ne se I stabilize na ama fam kwa no a e be fa ne sa because MPP time no se o kwa kota de a o koto ne na ya de ma 20 cedis a ade enchi nko ne 25 ade enchi nko ne 30 cedis na MPP time na da bia me kase milk MPP time free from 5 cedis e ko be 12 cedis and aka 12 cedis wo ya me what
gesia soap se na free koduye common gesia soap ani di dare di brighter enti sawodi ni mienu to nsane ani a ba ko de ye top notch nyansa wo mpa because untumi nya bibia enya eye friend say eye sikasam ho no but free SHS na ekoso enso na nkrofo ma ko private school na omutu school fees e kire se awofo na dwuma ko yie na sidi na stabilizing na sikasam ko yie a emfa woni school na ba ko peso de no ko betimi de na ko no otu school fees but free SHS nko ntimi masa awofo ntimi mfa na bank school opɛ bia the brighter ai makandada ana better nam kaye say enipa be say 10 to 15 afedi or the 15 can oka 10% pe menu mienu nyina na etan na ebo video no and was it is only 10% and I benefit and I'm class na me breaking it down I'm chechem na me de tell say how why and then 10% na aye the better and na ka ya to 15% enye nipa nyina na etimi atoka ade but the better upo direct indirectly ye nyina benefit ye because ebeboa amaka ona bi etimi atoka ade bi de aka ne ka ho ama sikwa so ma ya adwuma ama passenger anu ntanya ka afro nya bi no ade afo enye mfa so ni bi no ebeboa ama obi anu ntumi enko adwuma ntamo so no ebia na o sika obetimi de akoto private car ebeboa na boost to on mine no said ye see ye nyuma ama ne ma akon the brighter enti upo direct and indirectly no affect ye ama e won sunsun so papa e de we so enu nti sa 10% na wakan na me bi se biem nso me se bi se biem se nese ehinfo na 10% a benefit wo mo already no enya Ghana ni bia na businessman enya Ghana ni bia na businesswoman eti wo benya a few people and o makwa abrocha akokra mo o makokra nwa o makokra nkoko o makokra niema na o de aba o memu no o de be o memu a enam se sidi na stabilize na dollar no so aba fomunti no kan e se de na obesi stress ye
na enne wo be fa akokɔ no adaka ba akokɔ fa no abrochire $2 na ɔde be pie wo memu a ɔnton a wɔnkɔ na akodu $5 no enne yi onim sɛ ɔkɔfa no $2 na ɔde ba ɔnton a wɔnkɔ na da so gina $2 na ɛnu nti no one way or the other no ɔbɛte so de ama consumer wo so wo kɔ akɔtɔ bie no enti direct and indirectly no ye na nya mfaso a few bear 10% na ɛkɔfa ne man de aba no wɔde aba ma 90% na awie nkokɔ nyina nya mfaso de ɛwom enti what is he saying the brother mama yenye yen wo say educated illiterate yakɔ school nanso yabon yakɔ school nanso yanima de yakɔ school nanso yenye yadwen say yede yadwen be ye adwuma we utimi de dada sebe omo ye card bearing members of MPP omo nye omo adwen say omo be think outside the box no omo kwa na betimi de dada omo but the ordinary Ghanaian wonim how amamu osiko no onim the previous government here oya no omo de aka see the never 14 near top petrol no Petro timi kodu 17 enye 14 Sidi kodu 17 enye 14 etimu ka mamu nka no se mu ja December no hono price ane wo mu rise inflation 23 mu the inflation kodu 53 ena mu na mo sa de ba 23 na wo be fa de na de ko esoro na sa de ba fo ma ye bo abaso if after all be fa ne say ena de ko 53 no ena abeja 26 ena obi de aba 3.5 eti what are you telling me say eni mfa so wo so eno na ma man si kasem na gina banane a ehim te se first na ne ma hurihuri na ne bo enkoso no eti miracles po one po that the beneficiaries and as nipa mfa so nipa nya e de fi the current economy a yes stagnate gina won ma e move na enko no e top notch e che na bem
quick one ye de si eko e be sa ba biem akrayefo nyina